Hi, everybody. I'm Olliemathews. This is Societal Narcissism. No contribution with this video. Every time I do a video on parental alienation, there's always one, or it seems like it. There's always one woman who comes in because I talk about it from a male perspective. Because this happens to males by and large disproportionately. 20 to 1, 30 to 1. But every time I talk about it, there's always one woman who comes in and starts telling me what I have to do. It's not only men. And so here we go. And I got this comment. I'm going to read this comment, and then I'm going to make my point with another article. And I acknowledge that sometimes it happens to women. But it's rare. It's completely rare. And this is something I've dealt with personally. Read at your own risk. Some readers may find these comments sensitive. Not only men go through hell and during family court and divorce court custody matters, you have selected only women to expose. Yeah, it's my channel. Because this happens disproportionately to men. Just as the judge says both parents are equal, to be fair, you should make a video like this on women who've gotten the dirty end of the stick as well. There's plenty of women who have written in to me, and I have done their stories about them being alienated from their children, about them being their relationships with their children being ruined. There's plenty of them. Yet, when I talk about men, there's always got to be a woman who comes running in here and saying it's the women too. That's not the point. I'm talking about the men. It does happen as there are women who are good parents and good people. I am one of them. This video is more or less making most women look like the monsters you keep referring to them as. Maybe because you're acting like a monster right now. And if you watch the video all the way through, the last clip is a man getting berated by Judge Judy. But you can't see that. You can't take, and as a woman, you refuse to take any responsibility. And I'm sorry, I'm going to keep reading. I can tell how much your separation and family court matters have and still are affecting your life. I said it, it destroyed me. I've said it a million times. You're not being clairvoyant here. What do you think? You're exposing me? I told you. I'm sorry you went through this yourself. You seem bitter and unhealed to me. You're goddamn right. I said that. Oh, you're awful. You're goddamn awful. If you nod your head along every time this judge says both parents are equal, I suggest you make equal videos. Fuck you. Who are you to tell me what to make on my channel? This is so disproportionately male. It's disgusting. But yeah, I'm supposed to make equal videos of men and women getting alienated? Are you serious? Because let me tell you something, most of the women who say they're alienated, you dig deep enough, you find out they're the problem. Sorry, not sorry. Not saying anybody on this channel that I'm thinking of offhand. I'm sure there's a couple I might have called out. But every time I've seen a woman who does not have custody of their children, it's because they deserved to not have custody of their child. I wish you peace and happiness and hope you get what you deserve. I went through exactly this in court with my ex-husband, who did everything to smear me in front of the courts for 7 years. I constantly had to defend myself against his high-value lawyer, myself as my money all went to keeping up the payments on our home in order to care for our child. He was dangerous and alcoholic, and in the end, all he got was supervised access. All he got? Well, know what this sounds like? I don't believe you. I don't believe you. What I think is you wanted to cut off all his access, and he ends up getting supervised access. That means he can't see his children without some state representative there watching everything he does. You're going to sit here and act like you're the victim of something? Did you lose access to any of your children for years? No, you didn't. But he's stuck with supervised access. It sounds to me like you have an entitlement issue, and you wanted to cut off his access completely, and he got supervised access, where some government agent has to sit there and supervise his visits with his own children. He was dangerous and alcoholic, and in the end, all he got was supervised access, which he didn't even attend. Right. I could see that. I could see that not wanting to. If I got supervised access with my child, I wouldn't go either. I wouldn't go either. That's torture. Especially if I hadn't done anything wrong. Why? So he can sit there and you can laugh at him for having supervised, making him jump through hoops? No. This hurt our child psychologically. And at 30 years old, she is still in counseling over the past trauma her father created. Something tells me you created it. Because you mentioned his high-priced lawyer and all this and all what you're keeping up, but yet he was the one who ended up getting supervised visits, and you're acting like you're the fucking victim of something. He suggested she appear in court, then neglected his supervised access after stating he wanted her in his care so badly. Yeah, he wanted her in his care to get her away from you, and somehow the court sided with you and put him on supervised access. Nice picture, by the way. Leather studs, leather gloves. I mean, you're not fooling me, Angela. You're not fooling me. And you're going to come on here and tell me I got to make equal videos for both parents. You didn't, and you're the victim of something that you're not even the victim of. He's the one who ended up with supervised visits, not you. Entitlement. Like he should have just bent over and give you what he wanted. Tell me, Angela, when does a woman ever have to be put through this? When male rape victims are accountable for child support, the best interest of the child is still the court's number one priority. When Shane Sear was 12, he was sexually exploited by his 16-year-old babysitter, Colleen Hermisman. She became pregnant with Sayer's child in 1989 and was charged with statutory rape shortly afterwards. Instead of being convicted of rape, Hermisman was declared a juvenile offender under the non-sexual offense of contributing to child misconduct. Sear was subsequently court-ordered to pay child support. He was raped at 12. And this girl not only gets away with it, takes him to family court and gets child support put on him. And the court gives it to her. In 1993, at the age of 15, Sierra applied this decision appealed this decision to the Kansas Supreme Court, arguing he should not be liable for these payments. He maintained that his babysitter, Hermanson, took advantage of him sexually when he was too young to give consent. So this girl was responsible for his safety as his babysitter, ended up having sex with him, raping him, getting pregnant, and then then takes him into family court for child support. And not only do they give it to her, they they predate it back to when he was 12 years old and put him on back payments, put him in arrears at 15 from when he was 12. Tell me again how I got to do equal videos for men and women. Tell me again how you're the victim of something because your ex-husband tried to get custody and ended up with supervised visitation himself. And you want to sit here crying victim. Telling me what I have to do when I'm trying to help men out. And I help plenty of women out on this issue, by the way. And like I said, you didn't even watch the whole video because the last video is Judge Judy going after a man, going after an inadequate father, and rightfully so. But you only hear what you want to hear because you're in constant victim mode. Something about that video triggered something you see in yourself. The Kansas Supreme Court ruled against him. The judgment stated that because Sear initially consented to the sexual encounters and never told his parents what was happening, he was responsible for supporting the child. At 12. At 12. This court case set a precedent for male rape victims to make child support payments. The financial needs of the children outweigh the court's interest in deterring sexual crimes against male minors, even if statutory rape is the cause of conception. More recently, in 2014, Nick Olivis of Arizona was forced to pay over $15,000 in back payments to a woman who had sex with him when he was 14. She was 20 years old at the time. Commenting on Olivis' case and others like it, Mel Fate, director of the New York-based advocacy group, the National Center for Men, told the Arizona Republic newspaper to hold him unresponsible for the Sex Act and then turn around and say we're going to hold him responsible for the child that resulted in that act is off the charts ridiculous. It makes no sense. Peter Pollard, a co-founder of 1 in 6, an organization designed to help male assault survivors, explained in an interview with the Good Men Project why we downplay the severity of male sexual assault. We are all raised in a culture that says boys are always supposed to initiate and enjoy a sexual experience, and males are never supposed to see themselves or be seen as victims. The easiest default is to blame the victim, to say he wanted it, he must have chosen that. These attitudes towards male sexual assault are apparent even in the way these men are treated during their court cases. In 1996, the court heard the case of County of San Luis Obispo versus Nathaniel J., in which a 34-year-old woman became pregnant after sexually exploiting a 15-year-old boy. He was also forced to pay child support. And then Deputy Attorney General Mary Roth alleged, I guess he thought he was a man then. Now he prefers to be considered a child. Fuck you. Some profession, could you imagine, and there's plenty of women who are victims of sexual assault. Could you imagine if a girl was statutory raped or physically raped, an underage child, and I know this is out there, one of those abortion debates, like trying to be forced to carry the child of your rapist. How long have women been screaming about that, and why you need access to abortion, and then there's an exception except in the cases of rape and incest. What if the women were told, well, you wanted it, so now you got the best interest of the child? How come the best interest of the child is only has to do with with money when it's coming from the father? The double standard is sickening. The thought that this is a 50-50 issue is absurd. I'm like at a loss for words. I'm so irritated. And it's not only you. Every time I do a video on parental alienation, here comes a woman. Every time. Every time. And when you do it, you're really just telling on yourself. It's all funny when it happens to a boy, though. The boy must have wanted it. The boy must have wanted it. And that's what's socially acceptable. Some professionals, such as Mary Koss of the University of Arizona, who published the first national rape study in 1987, even argued that men and boys cannot be raped by women. In a radio interview, Koss said, "How would a man being raped by a woman happen? How would that happen by force or threat of force when the victim is unable to consent? How does that happen? I would call it unwanted contact." Could you imagine saying that about a woman? And then making her pay for it? Research indicates, however, that men can be stimulated and achieve an erection in times of fear and terror despite not being aroused. Studies range from cases where men report arousal during assault to scientific experiments that find men have erections under many non-sexual circumstances, including when they are unconscious. In her research, Miriam Denvow, a professor at McGill University who holds the Canada Research Chair in Youth, Gender, and Armed Conflict, asserted the professional assumption that sexual abuse by women is less harmful than similar abuse by men has potentially dangerous implications for male victims of sexual abuse. If professionals fail to recognize sexual abuse by women as potentially serious and harmful, child protection plans will not be made. She goes on to say, as a result, the experiences of male victims who come forward to disclose sexual abuse by women may be trivialized. Well, obviously they are trivialized. Just in this article, by prosecutors and judges and family courts. These misconceptions can lead to a delayed referral to social services or failure to provide victims with the care and support they require. Until the idea that women cannot rape men and other rape myths are dispelled, cases where victims are misunderstood and mistreated and even made to pay child support to their former abusers are likely to continue. And this is from Psychology Today. So you know what, Angela? You could take your 50-50. You could take your I'm the victim of my ex-husband because he tried to get custody and ended up with supervised visitation, but I'm the victim. You could take that and you could wipe your ass with it. I can see through you just by looking at your picture here, what you are. And it's not good. Every time I talk about parental alienation, the hell that fathers go through in this, there's always one that comes in there. But my women, but it happens to my women too. Yeah, at about 20-1. But let's act like it's a 50-50 thing and not miss out on some victimization. The problem is you saw yourself and most of those women on that video. You saw yourself in most of those women on that video. And you think you're going to come in here and gaslight people. You're not. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I fully acknowledge it happens to women too. I'm not talking about one of those cases. I'm talking about this. Because when you have rape victims, boys who are the rape victims of adult women being forced to pay child support by family court judges, don't tell me it happens to women too. Don't tell me it's a 50-50 thing. It isn't. It's absurd. How dare you come in here and say that to me? Say that to anybody. How dare you? We'll leave it there. Thank you for watching, everybody, and please leave your opinions in the comments section below. And if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you want to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Societal Narcissism.